Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, council members, city officials, and our streaming audience. I would like to welcome everyone to the January 24th City Council meeting. We have one item on our agenda this evening, and we are meeting here in chambers for public attendance as well as streaming on Facebook and live on YouTube. Moving forward, if you would, Mrs. Fleckner, would you continue with roll call of our members?
Thank you, President Geringer. Phillips?
Here.
Payne? Nickerson?
Here.
Henderson?
Here.
Gillum?
Here.
Preston?
Here.
Anthony Phillips?
Here.
Prohl?
Here.
And Farrow.
Do we have a motion to excuse Mr. Farrell from tonight's meeting? I have a motion by Councilman Prohl, seconded by Greg Phillips. Councilman Greg Phillips. Roll call on the motion to excuse Mr. Farrell.
Greg Phillips?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Nickerson?
Yes.
Henderson? Yes. Gillum?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Anthony Phillips?
Yes.
And Prohl.
Yes. Roll call on the motion to excuse Mr. Farrell passes. At this time, would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? To the flag. Thank you. The minutes of the previous meeting have been distributed for review. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Councilperson Phillips?
President Geringer, on community affairs, on the members of committee, it is listed, obviously, myself as the chairperson, Councilwoman Preston, and Councilman Anthony Phillips. We need to change the Anthony Phillips to Councilwoman Nickerson to appropriately, because I think what had happened was Mr. Phillips, sounds weird to say that, was on 4 committees,
Yeah.
and so we did a switch, but we want to make sure to note that.
Note the correction.
Yep.
That was an error on my part. I appreciate it, and thank you.
Yes.
Any additionals? If not, do I have a motion to accept the minutes as amended? Councilperson Henderson, seconded by Councilperson Payne. Do I have a motion? Roll call on the motion to accept the minutes.
Greg Phillips?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Nickerson?
Yes.
Henderson? Yes. Gillum?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Anthony Phillips?
Yes.
And Prohl.
Yes. The minutes have been accepted. Before we move on to other business of the evening, I've got appointments. The following list of individuals have been recommended by Mayor Feeney for various appointments throughout the city in respective boards and commissions and terms. I will read off 2 sections of these appointments and recommendations. The first group being for Design Review Board. There's a new appointment, Jade Berry, 2-year term, going through 12/31 of 23. New appointment for Josh Detillion through 12/31 of 23. A reappointment of Seth Brown through 12/31/23, and confirm the appointment of Council Member Tara Gillum as our council representative. Do I have a motion to accept the appointments? Motion by Councilperson Payne, seconded by Councilperson Greg Phillips. Roll call on the motion to accept.
Greg Phillips?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Nickerson? Henderson? Gillum?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Anthony Phillips?
Yes.
And Prohl.
Yes. Motion to accept, passed. The next group of recommendations are for Health District Board. Seal Corcoran will be filling an unexpired term ending 12/31/23, and Health District Board John Gabus, 5-year term, commencing 12/31/26. Do I have a motion to Councilperson Nickerson, seconded by Councilperson Roll. Roll call on the motion.
Preston,
No.
Henderson,
No.
Kane,
No.
Anthony Phillips,
No.
Greg Phillips,
No.
Prohl,
Yes.
Gillum,
Yes.
Nickerson.
Yes.
The motion is not passed. We'll now go on to reports of our committees. We'll begin with our Community Affairs Committee. Councilperson Phillips, do you have anything to report?
Community Affairs does not have any items on the agenda this evening. President Geringer, we did meet earlier for a committee meeting, and on assignment number 22-006, which is giving some street closure for the Buck 50 in April to hold the race downtown, similar to last year, but with some extended street closures. And so we met and approved that, and that should move to the council agenda on Valentine's Day, February 14th. And that is all that Community Affairs has to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to City Services. Councilperson Gillum, do you have anything to report?
Thank you, President Geringer. At this time, I have nothing to report for city services. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Utilities. Councilperson Prohl, do you have anything to report?
We have nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. Moving on to Safety Services. Councilperson Preston, do you have anything to report?
Yes, sir. In regards, we had a committee meeting this evening, and in regards to livestock within the city limits 19-093, I would like to send that back to the president.
Thank you. Moving on to Parks and Recreation. Councilperson Henderson, do you have anything to report?
I do have a few things, some good updates. So the as far as tourism in Chiillicothe goes for the World Heritage designation, we have a pretty exciting update. The application has officially been submitted to the state level, which will then move federal and then up to UNESCO for final review. That'll hopefully wrap up April of 2023. Another really cool thing that is getting ready to happen is there is an app that will be used for wayfinding around Chiillicothe and the surrounding areas. They're hoping that this app will launch around March. I think that'll be really, really cool for visitors. I know I definitely use that kind of stuff whenever I go out of town. Let's see. Diamond 1 renovations will hopefully begin around June 1st. And then they're looking into some different options to help with some of the graffiti around town. Some pretty neat ideas were brought forward. And then a few dates that are coming up. So the Leprechaun Chase 5K will be Saturday, March 12th, starting at 9 a.m. More details on Facebook. There's also a Fight Like a Kid 5K on Saturday, May 7th. Proceeds go to St. Jude's. And then Parks Board voted and passed on Feast of the Flowering Moon and the Halloween parade for this year. And then we've got a couple of other neat things coming up in the following month, so I'll be back with more.
Awesome, thank you. Moving on to Human Resources. Councilperson Payne, do you have anything to report?
Thank you, President Geringer. Yes, I do. We do not have any items on the agenda this evening. However, before I forget, I do want to, at the appropriate time, I would like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss union contracts and negotiations. I do have 3 outstanding assignments, so I want to talk about each one of those. First is assignment 22-002, and this is the AFSCME AFSCME contract. And this assignment wasn't received in time to get it to council tonight to vote on. And what that actually means to those that are out there listening is we didn't have enough time to have a committee meeting and then send it to the law director's office and then have it put on the agenda for this evening. So it's our understanding that this contract will automatically go into effect on January 27th without a vote this evening. Assignment 21-110, a special committee that was formed at the end of the year to review council members and the president of council's terms to possibly change from 2 years to 4 years on a stagger. We did have a committee meeting this past Monday evening on this, and we had several other questions and things that we were looking into. And so I would ask that we have a second committee meeting February 7th at 6:30. And the fourth thing this evening is assignment 21-104, and that's to update pay and other benefits of classified, non-classified, and management level employees of Chiillicothe. We did work on this a little before the end of the year. However, we need to work on the second half of this that we did not have time to before the end of the year. So I would ask that we have a committee meeting again on Monday, February 7th, and I'll include that with my 6:30 meeting. And then the last thing is just want to let Bruce Arnold's family know that thoughts and prayers are with him during this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the Finance Committee, Councilperson Anthony Phillips. Do you have anything to report?
Yes, Council President, a couple things. Number one, we still have a little bit of one group of purchase orders that need to be wrapped up so that we can wrap up the budget. Committee assignment 22003. I would request that we put that on for Monday, February the 7th for legislation. Auditor Spetnagel, would you like to add anything to that? Okay. And then number two, that's the legislation. Is that, did we discuss that now? That's fine. You get it.
Thank you. Moving on to engineering. Do any of the committee members have a report in Councilperson Sparrow's absence? And moving on to development. Councilperson Nickerson, do you have anything to report?
Development has nothing on the agenda tonight, and therefore nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you so much. From there, we'll move on to our reports from officials. Our mayor, Mr. Luke Feeney.
Thank you, President Geringer. I'd like to thank council for their support of the appointments to the Design and Review Board. We have a nice mix there of people with experience and people who represent businesses or residences downtown. I think they will be an asset to the community. With regard to the second vote, which was presented as a slate, that leaves me in a position where I'm not clear if both people were intended to be rejected or if one was and one was not. So I would respectfully ask that they be presented individually so that I can know how to present them at the next meeting, if I need to present two or one, if that would be appropriate. I would ask for favorable vote on item number 1. And finally, I would just like to take a moment to talk about the passing of former President Bruce Arnold, Council President Bruce Arnold. News is still pretty fresh, but I had the chance to work here in council chambers with Bruce for 6 years, and I think work is the right word. I think that Bruce had a certain energy and commitment and passion for his job that was impressive. It was impressive because by and large, council president is a thankless job. Council president doesn't have a vote. Council president's work is often behind the scenes and tedious. On a night like tonight, Bruce would have been in about 2 or 3 hours ago, and he would have turned on the heat for us, and he would have gone back to work, and he'd come back for the meeting. He would have made copies and got assignments out and that sort of thing. But mostly, Bruce had a lot of pride for this community. He cared deeply about this community, and it showed in his work. On Friday, I got a note in the mail from Bruce, and it said something on the front along the lines of, "Thank you so very much." And it was a note thanking, I'm sure, related to the last election, thanking supporters for his support. And inside it said, "Reach out to me if you need anything. If you have any questions, how can I help? I still plan to serve you." And I think that for me is how I'll remember Bruce. He was so eager and passionate to see this community succeed, and he took real pride in the job that he did. So he was a good friend, an excellent council president, and he will be missed. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Move on to our auditor, Mrs. Spetnagel.
We have one item on the agenda tonight. It's an ordinance appropriating the carry forwards from previous year. What that is an ordinance that for items that were included in last year's budget that were not paid by the end of the year that will still need to be paid this year. So I ask for your vote today so we can get vendors paid that are due money for services that have already been provided. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next is a report from Council President, and I have nothing to report.
President Geringer, I forgot to mention that the law director did reach out to me tonight. She mentioned she wouldn't be able to make it, but she did not have a report. I apologize, Anna, if you're watching.
Fair enough. Based on the request from Mayor Feeney of a motion to review the Health District Board assignments individually, call for a motion to accept Seal Corcoran filling an unexpired term ending 12/31/2023, and John Gabus a 5-year term terminating 12/31 of 2026. Do I have a motion to accept? Motion from Councilperson Nickerson, seconded by Councilperson Prohl. Roll call on the motion. Separate. Okay. First, we'll take a roll call on Health District Board Seal Corcoran, unexpired term, ending 12/31/2023.
Preston,
No.
Henderson,
No.
Payne,
No.
Anthony Phillips,
No.
Greg Phillips. No. Prohl,
Yes.
Gillum,
Yes.
and Nickerson.
Yes.
The motion did not pass. Is there a motion to accept John Gabus assignment to Health District Board, terminating 12/31/26? Motion made by Councilperson Prohl, seconded by Councilperson Nickerson. Roll call on the motion.
Preston,
No.
Henderson,
No.
Payne,
No.
Anthony Phillips,
No.
Greg Phillips,
No.
Kroll,
Yes.
Gillum,
Yes.
and Nickerson.
Yes.
The motion did not pass. Moving on, we'll move to audience participation. Council Rule 21 does limit each speaker to a 5-minute presentation and a total limitation of 15 minutes per any single subject. If you get to the point where you're getting close to the 1 minute remaining, I'll try to indicate to you to summarize your presentation. Anyone who wishes to speak, we do need for our records your name and address. Do we have any? Yes, please approach.
Thank you so much. My name is John Thacker. I'm in the 4th Ward at 990 Columbus Street, apartment 307 in Chiillicothe. I just wanted to say thank you to the City of Chiillicothe and everybody involved at Chiillicothe Transit for the work they've done to make the changeover to the new route system. And it'll take a while, probably. A lot of people are using it because it's really cold out, as you all know. So I just want to say thank you for the work that people have done on our behalf. I'm one of the people that writes the bus. So I definitely take it as something that I'm very appreciative of. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thacker. Now to new business. Does anyone have anything that they would like to bring up?
I do. So I received a committee assignment on the 20th in regards to nuisance enforcement services, and I'd like to request a committee meeting for Wednesday, the 26th, January 26th at 4 p.m. here in council chambers. It's going to be 22-005. And I'd also like to discuss the other 2 carryover items that I have left over. One is 21-109, the $28.50 pay rate for a temporary for a deputy clerk. And also that was from December. And then 21-023, regulate parking on city streets. I'd like to discuss all 3 of those items at the committee meeting. Correct, at 4 p.m. Mm-hmm.
So from there, we'll move on to legislation. We have 1 item on the agenda this evening. Ms. Fleckner, when you're ready, would you start with the first and only item?
First reading of an ordinance appropriating $2,242,401.64 for the purpose of continuing the handling of brought forward purchase orders from the year 2020 and other brought forward amounts to be put on the books of the City of Chiillicothe, Ohio for the year ending December 31st, 2022, and declaring an emergency.
Would anybody like to waive the 3-read rule on this?
Council President, I'd like to waive the 3-read rule.
Thank you, Councilman Phillips. Motion, Councilperson Henderson, seconded by Councilperson Payne. Roll call on the motion to waive.
Phillips,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Gillum,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Anthony Phillips,
Yes.
and Prohl.
Yes.
Roll call on the motion.
Phillips,
Yes.
Payne, Nickerson, Henderson, Gillum,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Anthony Phillips,
Yes.
and Prohl.
Yes.
That ordinance is passed. Does anyone have anything else that they would like to add or bring up at this time? If not, do I have a motion? Oh, Councilperson Payne. Seconded by Councilperson Phillips.
Greg Phillips,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Gillum,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Anthony Phillips,
Yes.
and Prohl.
Yes.
Motion is passed, or request is passed.